The Colorado transmission system we rely on today was built from about 1940 to 1980. During that period of massive public investment in infrastructure, Colorado transmission had three drivers. The federal government built large reservoirs with hydropower to sell cheap power to Western communities. Utilities built large coal plants close to rail or mines where the energy resource was located. And the federal government financed rural co-ops to build lines to communities that the market had left behind. And it's these lines that connect nearly all of our renewable energy today. Today, those vintage low-voltage wood pole lines run down the center of the San Luis Valley to connect Colorado's highest solar resource, where no more solar generation can be connected. On the eastern plains in Lamar, we rely on lines that dead end just to the northwest of Colorado's highest wind resource, where no more wind generation can be connected. The core function of the transmission system is a safe and reliable grid. But today we need a transmission policy that recognizes that similar to our situation in 1930, we require a system that will carry us the next 75 years and enable further economic growth. Utilities in Colorado until last week were actively trying to form an electric market. A market would remedy a problem that is unique to Colorado. Colorado is the least connected state in terms of our transmission capacity to surrounding states in the continental US. We're a transmission island. The Colorado Energy Plan, pending before the Public Utilities Commission, would retire 660 megawatts of coal and replace it with 600 megawatts of gas and storage and about 1.5 gigawatts of renewable energy. The Colorado citizens want more coal retirements and to finish the clean energy transition that we started in 2004. But the amount of transmission capacity that 100% renewable generation will require is not there. We need a transmission policy that recognizes many of the same drivers of transmission in 1930 exist today. The resource is far away and rural communities are being left behind. So let me be clear that I am not requesting more transmission planning. That happens now. Utilities file plans with the PUC every 2 years that consistently identify where the greatest needs lay. We know the critical improvements that are necessary. And don't get me wrong, transmission is the subject of plenty of conversation. In Colorado, we have processes at the FERC, NERC, WEC, WestConnect, CCPG, CoPUC, WAPA, and the DOE. We have innumerable meetings, but we dance around what I believe our focus should be. Are we setting up a system that will work for future generations? 15 years ago, when Xcel started buying large amounts of wind power, IPPs built radial lines to where the Xcel-owned grid reached farthest east, the Pawnee Coal Station and the Missile Site substation. Today, nearly 3 gigawatts of wind is connected with those same places. The radial lines are called gen-ties, essentially extension cords, standing out across the plains like a haphazard set of industrial art. They don't help the system inform a circuit. Out of Missile Site, there are nearly 3 gen-ties. There are already 3 gen-ties, 40 to 70 miles long. This exacerbates the worst problems of transmission: inefficient spending, land and wildlife impacts, visual impacts, with none of the benefits: connectivity, reliability, redundancy, and capacity. There is a chart in Xcel's RFP that showed available transmission capacity for bidders to consider. And what was available? Very little. So to effectuate the Colorado Energy Plan, the only point for new gen-ties to interconnect will be the new Rush Creek transmission line, which is itself a gen-tie as well. So this system of extension cords, stuffed into extension cords into one outlet, will have to get us through the CEP, but it will leave us with increasingly marginal room to go from there. Under our electric resource planning process, if new transmission is required, it is attributed as a cost of the projects that require it. This means that investments are only considered as a penalty, and so the utility has zero incentive to pursue it. To put a fine point on this, as if on cue for my presentation, Xcel this past Monday asked the Colorado Commission for a delay in filing the CEP because it needed to resolve transmission operational issues. So transmission investment is therefore a piece of the puzzle that is unsexy but deserves our attention as being infrastructure worthy of public and ratepayer investment. Let me point out that there are areas of the country that have made big investments in transmission. And in those areas, the CREZ project in Texas being one example, states have attracted widespread investment in inexpensive renewable generation quickly. In Colorado, the Mountain West Transmission Group feasibility study showed that transmission investments here would save utilities and ratepayers money by enabling efficient transfers of electricity, and by allowing more renewable energy to interconnect. Of course, the costs are large, but the benefits far exceed them and last for generations. So my vision is for an overhaul. We merge radial lines into circuits sequentially over a generation to enable a flexible and expanding system. We prioritize transmission as economy-driving infrastructure along with rails, highways, and airports. And then maybe Donald Trump will pay for our renewable energy future.